they get better for something. Like, I don't know why. Like, it was just me and my cousin versus 6 people, and we were like hanging out by a barrier for a solid 10 minutes, just killing everyone that would peek us.
That's one thing I like about Halo. Like, when people leave the game, there's no one else taking their spot.
Yeah.
I play better when I'm against an odd. Like, if there's a bunch of people on the enemy, like a full stacked enemy team, and then just me, I'm perfectly fine with that.
You got 3 or 5 man with Wayne's team, he's good. But you put 4, 2, or 6 in there, fuck.
No,
it's the worst man you've ever seen in your life.
I don't know. I play better in Halo when I'm at a disadvantage.
I think it's like one, like, if I was playing Rocket League, I'm good at 3v3s, perfectly fine. If I'm in a 1v1, nope.
Totally different
I
game.
am garbage. I cannot 1v1
As soon as you miss in a 1v1, it's the fucking worst.
You miss a 1v1, you're done.
That's how it is with me in League. Like, if I'm playing support to Chris or to you, we're fine. I'm usually alright. I do alright. But if I support Mason, fuck, that lane's dead. There's no way.
There's people I can't lane with.
There's like, just some people I can't help because their playstyle is so contrast to mine that I can't.
Yeah, it's a very, whenever you're in a lane with someone, as from what I know from that type of game, it's like if you don't mesh with how they play, it's like they're either leaving you out to dry or you're leaving them out to dry because you don't have the same plan.
I can lane with David too, but for totally different reasons than I can lane with you and Chris. Like when I lane with you and Chris, you guys are the ADC, you take charge, you know what you're doing, and I just follow your lead. Yeah. When I lane with David, the only reason I can successfully lane with him is because David's not incompetent at the game. He can play his character, and he listens to me. He's not in bot lane nearly as much as I am. So when I tell him we're not going to fight something, he listens to me.
He doesn't want to fight it. Like there's times that I'll be playing, and like I'm playing with someone that clearly doesn't understand, and I'm just like, I really hope you do. Like when me and Chris play, we know what we're gonna do. Like we don't have to say anything or like he assume. Because like normally when me and Chris would play, I'd be his support, he'd be the AD carry. As soon as I were to like engage on somebody, Chris is right there because he knew exactly what I was gonna do as soon as I cast the ability. He knew I was gonna be fighting this, so then he's automatically prepared, and he knows that I'll protect him as much as I can in that situation to get us out of it alive.
Yeah, whenever I would play with Chris, it would always be like we'd get into lane, and after a couple minutes, he'd decide who was the bigger threat. He'd be like, "Hey, listen, we're gonna kill the support. We're gonna kill Lulu." I'd be like, "Okay." And then I'd just sit there, keep supporting, and then he'd say, "Okay, do it." Boom, everything on Lulu right then and there.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do is just pay attention to it. Like when Mikey started playing, we just had him in his lane all by himself.
All I could do was AD carry. I was like,
well, you were
a support.
You were tank.
That's all I could do.
Because we had him all off top the entire
Because I played Smite, but obviously Smite and League are not the same game.
I tried to give him as similar of a character to the character he played in Smite.
I played Bologna.
His favorite character was Bologna, so
I had her diamond.
The closest thing to Bologna in League of Legends is Olaf, in my opinion.
As far he had similar abilities.
What? You mean it's not Rek'Sai?
Absolutely not. give this guy Rek'Sai, you might as well call it game over.
I think the only reason I played more Smite than League is because it's not a full top down, it's third person.
That, and also when I originally tried getting you into League, it was you only had a Mac.
Yeah,
and it wasn't out on the Mac. It wouldn't work for shit.
The one thing I do know is that every time I play Zach, everybody says, "Well, there goes the fucking game," and I usually agree with them because I never have confidence when I play Zach. I'm just like, I'm playing Zach. I don't know why I clicked that. It's probably not going to be good. It always turns out better than I think it will. But
you're just not actually used to it.
I'm just not used to playing Zach. So when I play Zach, it's just like, why are you doing that in the bot lane? Why are you running Zach support? I'd be like, couldn't tell you, champ.
Just because.
Champ is what I'm doing.
It's like when he would just pick Trundle and play Trundle support before it was a cool thing to do.
Yeah, I would just... So here's my thing. I got good at support lane, but I hated playing support characters. So I was like, I'm just going to play bruisers. So I started playing Rek'Sai. I started playing Trundle. I started playing Zach. I started playing people who are supposed to fight, like Jarvan. Jarvan support is so good, and nobody does it, and I don't know why. And I'm really glad they don't, because it's good, and I don't want to lose my thing. Jarvan support is so fucking abusive, especially if you have an ADC who's mobile. If you have somebody like a Tristana who can come into your hole, Jarvan support is ridiculous. Because you just lock him down, Tristana comes in, shoots him up, and if she's in danger, she leaves. If she's not in danger and she needs to kill, she jumps in. It's so abusive.
It's very one way if you do it right. So the users easily run the lane.
You cannot half-ass it, though. If you walk in as a Jarvan support and half-ass a fight, you're going to kill you both. You got to commit.
Yeah. That or if you just go in to protect the other one and the other person follows you when you didn't want them to follow you.
It's very difficult to back off.
You do have to communicate a little more.
Jarvan support is very hard to back off. You have to have an aggressive lane or a smart ADC, because Jarvan doesn't have a lot of peel. Usually his ult traps the ADC, so you have to be very careful with it if you're in a dangerous situation.
Yeah. Welcome to Time's Up. I'm Wayne.
I'm Mikey.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Mikey.
Hey, we did it one try easy on that one, boys.
We were prepared.
I was ready.
He was prepared. He knew. Just got done editing.
I knew I
the
was
last
Mikey.
one not too long ago, so it made it a little easier on him to understand.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to have to put up soundproofing today. Unfortunately for you guys, that soundproofing is coming late, so it's probably not going to sound as good as it will, but it's definitely better than the first one. This is going to sound like the second one you guys heard, so it's not
If
awful.
not a little better.
Yeah, maybe a little better.
Hopefully
because
a little better. But yeah, so we thought we were going to get work done today. We ended up not getting that, but we still got work done today. We pre-recorded some stuff.
Yep.
We set up a little bit more of a plan. We're gonna try to be a little bit more organized.
We're going to try to give you guys a sweet format that we think we're going to enjoy.
Yeah, the last two have been a little chaotic, so we're trying to clean it up.
Yeah, let's explain it. We have a loose format. We're not 100%. We're like 75% of what we want.
Yeah, essentially we're going to try to come at it with like a topic specifically for the podcast itself, and then we're going to take an hourglass and flip it and then talk about that topic. So, like, as far as like, sometimes we'll debate on the topic. Otherwise, we'll just talk about it the entire time.
Yeah, a debate or a question that we want to answer. We'll all three have our points, and then we'll come to a consensus of what the answer we think is most likely to be.
And you guys are more than welcome to send us questions by any way you know of.
And don't forget, you can also throw in your 2 cents. You know, if you really liked what we were talking about, or if we missed some points that you wanted to hear more about, throw it up in the comments section. Get a hold of us on social media. Tell us what your thoughts are.
We'll read through it and then we'll give you a little shout out. I know it doesn't seem like much right now, but maybe someday it'll grow into bigger, better things. At least that's what we're going for.
No maybes, only wills.
It will happen.
What an inspiration!
Just a matter of time. We're gonna be forceful with this whole thing, mostly because this is something that we've actually been having a lot of fun with. As far as like getting together every weekend and talking about it.
In the making for over a year.
Yeah, it took us a year to decide whether or not we were even going to try it, and I'm glad that we did. Yeah. We're having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, you guys wanted to do a podcast. You just didn't have any idea about it.
We wanted to do one out of spite.
And then, you guys. And then me and Wayne wanted to do a podcast, and we just thought of a name and format we wanted, and we were thinking of all kinds of things. And
we're trying to make it still doing things week by week. Writing everything down, talking about everything,
listening to our past ones, seeing what we could improve, and
trust me, we know the audio on the first episode sucked.
Hot garbage, but it was better than our first 2 attempts. No,
first 2 attempts.
Promise that.
Also, things seem a little weird to you guys because we our formatting as far as our recording got a little messed up and weird. So we're essentially doing these as like a week ahead of when you hear them.
We're backlogged a little bit.
Yeah. So it'll be you'll hear what you hear. On a Monday will be recorded, not the Saturday before, but the previous Saturday.
Correct.
So we're a week behind of when you listen.
So whenever we have announcements, we're going to try and date them accordingly.
Yes.
Correct. Well, we'll figure it out and sort it out for you. It shouldn't be too hard as far as things are right now, because eventually we'll probably take a week to separate it and fix it. But as of right now, we're just going to keep going with what we're doing because, like I said, we've been enjoying getting together every weekend to talk about this stuff.
We're really not doing anything time sensitive.
Not currently.
It's been about magic and video games and guns, like nothing that came out and suddenly like that's old news.
Yeah.
It's just things that we were into.
You know, we could be like everybody else. We could talk about the pandemic. We could talk about COVID, but
really don't want to hear about that.
Everybody's talking about the COVID
it's
crisis.
Well known.
Everyone's talking about the pandemic.
And by no means are we experts or know what we're extremely...
We don't want to pretend it's not happening. But we just want to take a little break from it. Give everybody a chance to not have to listen.
It's happening.
Yeah, we just want to give somebody a chance to not have to listen to it for an hour.
Yeah,
we just want to try to entertain you the best we can for like an hour, a half hour, hour and a half is what I meant to say.
It's not a half hour.
It'll never be a half hour. Unfortunate for you guys, but it'll always be like an hour. Sometimes we'll stretch to like an hour and 30 minutes, depending on how loose we get with our topics.
Says you, I'm out of here.
Mark's gone.
Mark has left the room for those of you that don't know. No, he's just kidding. He's still here.
He grabbed the door handle. He's still here. He's a liar.
That's just how it is.
With a noisy chair.
So how was the week for everyone?
It was pretty solid because me and Mark went up to Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun.
We
talked about it.
A dine-in order for Mikey on the podcast. You guys heard that last week.
So I guess we'll lead into with that. Like,
how was your food?
How was the food we brought you?
Yeah. So I got pork ramen.
Yep, you got pork ramen.
With miso soup, correct?
Known as a tonkatsu. Yes, you got pork ramen and then a bowl of miso soup.
A bowl of miso soup. Obviously,
Wayne heated them up and just mixed them together for you.
He didn't heat them up in no microwave or anything.
No,
he did me good, and he heated them up on the stove.
Put that stuff on the stove and warmed it up.
And while the only other actual ramen I have was in Colorado, where me and Wayne went, Osaka Ramen. So I can't really compare the two because this is reheated one day after ramen. I don't feel like it'd be doing this place justice.
Pretty quality reheat though.
It was a good reheat, yes, but it's not. It can't beat that at the place.
I tried to replicate it.
But
Until
it
Mark
was really good.
Throwing a fit about me adding in the miso.
I just thought it was odd that he mixed them together.
I liked it. I wouldn't have had it any other way. However,
well, you would have if we were there.
You're not wrong. My favorite part about it, the eggs. Oh my, that man knows how to. Whatever he did to the eggs, don't know if he.
I'm not 100% sure, but I know he hard boils the eggs.
The way they look, they definitely look like they were pickled.
They were hard boiled and they were slightly pink, so I don't know if they were pickled in something. But
well, I think what he does. Well, they got a little brown on the outside. I think what he does is he hard boils them, but I think he also boils them like in miso.
He might.
They were extremely flavorful, and I would eat just if I could have a bowl like 4 of those eggs with some miso soup, a little bit of miso soup and some noodles, I would eat that perfectly fine.
Be fantastic.
Lincoln's a good man. He makes some good food.
What's the place called? I'm sorry.
It's called Wabi Sabi. He's got 2 of them. They're up in Rochester.
Not a
Wabi
sponsor?
Sabi and Wabi Sabi Express. Hashtag not a sponsor.
Hashtag not a sponsor, but a beautiful place to eat.
I will put a picture of the front of the shop for you.
Yep, you can find it. Wabi Sabi's a pretty good place. I like Lincoln. He's a good guy.
Some good ramen. We don't have ramen around here where we're from.
Unfortunately, I really wish we did. If this takes off enough,
we'll open a ramen
shop.
Me and Wayne have destined dreams.
We've been thinking about it. There's times we drive by empty buildings, and Maggie's like, "That's the perfect spot."
I say that's the one.
I always say a pho place out in Peoria.
Yeah, we have pho in Peoria, that's what it's called.
I'm not all about it. Like, I want a place like Osaka Ramen where you walk into a sketchy basement.
It's a bar. You don't have a choice of seating. They don't ask you where you seat. They say, "Here you go, right here," and you're at the bar next to some. I was sitting next to some lady. I obviously didn't know because we were in Colorado, and I didn't even care. There was a dude with the ushanka on with his wife, and they were just over there enjoying ramen, being loud, and I loved it. The atmosphere was great.
So I'm not usually intentionally just getting on top of people and just bothering people and being next to strangers, because usually I like just having a meal, sitting down, enjoying myself. But something about this place up in Rochester was called Forager Brewing. It was a.
That's the place where you brought that.
Where I brought those giant cans, those 750 milliliter cans. They were fat. They were crowlers.
Yeah, we never got to drink it.
I would go up there and I would go into the bar and specifically sit down at the bar next to people. Just to bug them. I'm just weird about that.
I'm not
super into sitting at a bar in between people. It's just awkward for me. I've done it a few times at Sullivan's.
I don't do it intentionally.
When we go to the not 4th of July, but like the January 1st thing, the New Year's, we went there.
Good words.
Yeah. Words are hard for me sometimes. Just how it is.
Yeah. Normally I don't do it intentionally, but I have no reservations against it. I have no issue just sitting next to strangers. Or like if you're at a restaurant, it's very uncommon. It doesn't happen nowadays as much as it used to, but they'll just say, "Hey, you can just sit with these people." Yeah, I don't give a shit.
If anyone knows
it barely ever happens like that.
I'm not a people person.
I think I've only seen it a couple of times.
Yeah. I'm not a people person. I don't like doing it.
I think I've only had that happen to me once or twice. I had a table and there was just like 3 extra seats, but that was the only table they had. And it was me and some other person. They was like, "Can these people sit with you?" I'm like, "I don't give a shit." Yeah.
The whole team in Colorado was at Osaka. We were right next to it. Well, I don't think you were. You were at the end, weren't you?
I was closer to the wall.
Yeah, you were at the wall. There was a lady right next to me, and then we went to our comedy show. The whole reason we went to Colorado, I was elbows with a guy. Elbows with a lady.
Me and the dude, and the guy next to me, we were rubbing knees.
Yeah, and those dudes were rubbing knees.
Did we talk last week about the Eagle out in Indianapolis? Because that's what happened when we went to the Eagle. We were with Dan and a bunch of Dan's friends when we went to Gen Con last year. And Dan had to go do something else. So Wayne, Austin, and I were just left with 4 strangers that only knew Dan. And we went to lunch with them.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
It's a pretty fire chicken at that place.
That place is amazing as far as chicken goes. That's the best fried chicken you'll ever find.
I think you told me about that place.
I think we did it in like a pilot episode. Never actually talked about it.
Oh, we might not have.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Because I remember us talking about it, but I don't remember.
We talked
about
confusing
it on, like, after we trash 2 episodes. We don't really
that's what happens
exactly
when the audio
is
beyond fixing. At this point, the audio is manageable.
Fascinating stuff we're talking about there. But let's take a quick second to show some appreciation to our supporters. W.E. Sullivan's Irish Pub and Fare in Peoria Heights has had our back since day one. And they've got your back too in these hard times with high-quality food and service. Order to go through their website or over the phone, or have it delivered right to you with either Order to Eat or Grubhub. Remember, guys, now more than ever, our local businesses need our support. So get a hold of Sullivan's, place an order, and show them some love.
We can kind of deal with it now.
Anything else in the week? Anything? I just worked.
Dog ate my shoe today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
He came over and he says, like, I've had a fucking week, man.
We record these on Saturday, so today's Saturday. And on Saturdays, I go into work to get a little extra hours in the morning because we got to come in. I work at a golf course, so we got to do basic maintenance. We got to mow the greens. We got to change the cups. And the cups, for reference, are just the hole where you are aiming for the ball. That's where you're trying to get the ball. It's called a cup. So we got to move that around the green. We got to mow the green, and then we got to pick up the trash cans and make sure they're empty and clean for the weekend. That only takes about 2 hours, maybe 3 if something goes wrong and we're really slow.
Yeah.
Only took me about an hour and a half today to get done what I was doing. I went home, took off my shoes, and I only got maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep, so I figured, well, I'm just going to sleep until the afternoon, so that way we can do the podcast, get ready, record some stuff.
You probably woke up like right as I texted him.
I did. I woke up 4 minutes after you texted me.
That's what I thought.
But I woke up and I went downstairs, and Dad says, "Don't get mad." I was like, "What?" "This dog ate your shoe." And I was like, "Oh, son of a bitch." I was like, well, "Can I still put it in?"
And then Mark got mad.
Well, normally I would have, but I looked over. I could still put it on. It's literally the only pair of shoes I own. So you can see it right now. It's just the back.
I can't really tell. Yeah, I see
It's
where
just
it's
the back
at.
where it
Yeah,
got
that's
chewed
not
up.
terrible.
But I could still put
It's
it
not
on.
like Odysseus getting a hold of my shoes and ripping the entire sole out.
I wasn't as mad as I thought it was going to be, but they ate half my shoe. Still fits.
While we're on the topic of where people work, Mark works at, just so everyone knows where we work, Mark works at
I work at a golf course.
like you just said.
Yep.
Golf course, doing lawn care. And
it's technically agriculture. That's how it was
that's how it
filed.
is essential.
Under the essential businesses. It was maintenance of grounds. It was agricultural work.
But yeah.
Technically, shouldn't have even been working.
Me and Wayne work, well, right now Wayne does not work, but
Good old furlough. Love it
me
so
and
much.
me and Wayne work at Best Buy as inventory specialists.
The furlough wouldn't be so bad if the state would actually pay me money.
Wayne can't get money, but enough about that. No money issues going on.
I'm trying not to get political this early.
But yeah,
Pritzker, you suck.
We're just 3 dudes with ambiguous political ideals.
At this point, I thought you was cool. You ain't.
That's where we all work. Have normal jobs.
State
We
of
obviously
Illinois
this
joke.
isn't yet our source of income or
Please
anything
make
at
this
all.
my job. I'm tired of this. The state's robbing me, not paying me my money.
I don't want to tell you how to live your life or what to do, but oh my God, for the love of Jesus, pay us.
No. We'll figure out some way to get through everything.
Yep.
As we do.
If this doesn't turn into anything, really,
We're still doing it.
we have hopes that it will, but it's still just a fun thing to do every week.
So we're still going to do it
Get
regardless
together,
whether you
talk.
like it or not.
Yeah, that's right. You have to listen to us. Not really,
Stuck
but
with us. No, you have to.
wow.
Don't give them the option to
You're,
leave.
you're
Oh,
locked
geez,
into
don't leave.
this. It's just too much
Mark
fun
will
for
have
us
his
to
dogs
stop.
chew up your
It
shoe.
gives us a perfect,
Yeah.
perfect excuse to get together on a Saturday and just bullshit for a few hours.
We hung out. We hung out for a solid 2 to 3 hours, maybe more, before we even start recording.
Mike,
Yeah.
I don't think you know how time works because we're usually together for like 5 or 6 before we go home.
You're right. Well,
That's how it
and then
works.
after we get
And
done
then we
recording,
go home and play more games.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we go home, and it's not like we're apart.
No, we basically hang out for another 4 hours.
Yeah. Currently playing that Call of Duty life.
Yep, Call of
Oh, I
Duty.
hate
Never
so
thought I'd
much.
be into Call of Duty as
I
much
hate
as I got back into
Dude,
Call
they
of Duty.
did this one right.
I was out of Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2.
I stopped at Black Ops 1. And after that, I was like, I can't deal with any more of these games.
Modern Warfare 2 was the last one I played
But
dedicatedly.
I did keep buying them just to prove points to people.
The raging storm in my heart will never be quelled. when
Mark
it comes
hates
to Call of Duty.
fast-paced FPSs.
I don't hate fast-paced FPSs. I hate Call of Duty.
Mark hates fast-paced
Call of Duty just happens to be a fast-paced FPS.
Yeah, we all know Mark. Mark's a big rage baby when it comes to Call of Duty.
Mark does like Tarkov, but I would not consider that a fast-paced
Tarkov
FPS.
is not a fast pace.
No.
Also,
See,
Mark hated Tarkov when he first started playing.
I think my skill level in
That's true.
Tarkov and Call of
You did.
Duty
To be fair, we all did.
are similar. I think I'm a little bit better at Tarkov than I am at Call of Duty. I'm not awful at Call of Duty. I'm not good. I'm in the middle
I
of the
wouldn't say
leaderboards.
you're bad at Tarkov.
I think
You're
my
not.
skill level's a little bit higher.
Were bad at Tarkov.
I was super
But
bad.
when we all first started, we were all bad at Tarkov.
However, when I die in Tarkov, like when you die in Call of Duty, we play on hardcore. So when we die, you have no idea who or from where, and that just gets me so mad. But when we die in Tarkov, you have no idea who or from where. I don't get as mad. I'm just like,
because there's no option. You don't have the option to know.
Oh darn, I died.
Normal, yeah.
It's just how it happens.
And actually, in Tarkov,
There's
it's
times
way
like
more
when
crucial.
in Tarkov, you get your head ripped off, and you're like, "Where the shit was that?"
Yeah.
But when you die in Tarkov, it's way more crucial because you lose
everything.
hundreds of thousands of rubles of gear, possibly, which is not really easy to get.
Yes, I've been coming to terms with them just taking out the Gamma and Kappa crate. I don't think that needs to be in the game.
You don't think it needs to be in the game?
It doesn't
I'm
need
kind
to.
of over it.
I would accept like a key ring. Don't lose
a
your
key ring.
keys.
I think you also you can keep your keys and you can keep dog tags off people you die.
That
you
too.
kill.
A dog tag case, it's there's no gamma. There's just you buy a key ring, and that's the only thing you can do there, and you can only put keys on it. And then
as
a
far
dog tag.
As far as I'm
case.
concerned, I've gotten to the point of the game where it's like I could live without the gamma container.
Or just one sick case, and that's what all it is. It's just a sick case.
Yeah, if it was a sick case,
that'd be fine. If it was a sick case, and you could just put some in the sick, because you can't put everything in there.
For those who don't know, a sick case is a permanent case. I'm not going to explain all of it, but a permanent case that you take in a raid, and you can't lose if you die.
Yeah, because when you die in Tarkov, the things that you took on with you, there's two ways to play. You can either play as a scav or
you
play
can lose a sick case if you die.
Or play as a
No,
PMC.
if it's in your
If they make it to where it's
yeah,
your gamma.
that's what I'm saying. If it's in your gamma, I don't know why you would put your sick not in your gamma because you're pretty stupid if you do that.
So if you run in as a scav is an automatically generated character with random low quality gear that you can just go in and get stuff. If you survive the raid, you keep the stuff you got. If you don't, there's no loss. Your PMC, your player character, Mikey's dying.
I'm dying.
Your PMC, your player character, is the character that is important. They're yours, they're your guy, you level them up, you gain stats, you gain equipment. All the equipment you get off of a scav, you can put on the PMC and take into a raid with you. The PMC, when you die, there is consequences. All that stuff, gone. You don't get that back. You have to re-find, re-earn, re-buy that equipment. That's why it's more important when you die in Tarkov to really assess how much value that you're willing to risk.
In Tarkov, unless you're a Pestily or some crazy gamer, you can't.
Unless you're one of the known guys,
you can't run in there and just.
Unless you have insane game knowledge, because even Pestily
it's also hella
himself,
fair. Like you could easily kill one of those guys.
Yeah, Pestily himself will say that by no means is he a superior player. He just has superior game knowledge.
Yeah, he knows rounds.
He knows all the ins and outs.
Yeah, he knows maps. He knows rounds. He knows when. He knows what different sounds thing make. He knows if he hears the sounds. He knows where you are in the map. It's not like he knows there's a guy to his left. He knows there's a guy to his left around the corner, just getting in the door.
And what kind of gun he's using if he fired it.
He hears a gun sound. He says, "That's a Dragunov." I know not to get all fucking far from that dude.
Yeah,
he knows things.
It's definitely a skill-based game that takes time. Call of Duty is one of those games where, sure, there's things to unlock.
Anybody's good.
But anybody can have a chance to win.
Me and Wayne got in not playing Call of Duty for multiple years. We played FPSs, but no really fast-paced FPSs we didn't play.
No, we played slow, draggy like Battlefield and
that's not
Rainbow
really
Six and then Tarkov.
Rainbow Six isn't even fast, but we got in Call of Duty and on average, me and Wayne probably hit upwards of 20 kills and normally around 10 deaths. We have a 2.0 KD normally. Normally we have a 2.0.
And we're usually on the top of the team almost every game. Like the other night, I was on top of the leaderboard like 15 games in a row.
Yeah. Whereas in Tarkov is not a game where you can just jump in and everybody's good. Tarkov, whoever has more time.
You get one chance to get in there and get kills. If you don't do it, you die. You don't have
whoever has more time is more likely to have the advantage. That's not to say somebody who doesn't have the time can't succeed. You have just as much chance to kill somebody if you're using the right round as the guy with a lot of gear does.
If they don't hit their shots and you hit your shots, they're dead. You can have a much crappier gun than they have and lower armor. If you get the drop on them, like you're behind them, they're walking out of a door, and you just pump them full lead in the back, the chances are you're going to win that fight regardless of the fancy things they have on them.
Yeah.
Tarkov is definitely intentionally an unbalanced game. It's unfair for the players. But that's only to say that if you treat the game casually, if you try to play Tarkov casually, you're going to be beaten casually.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to succeed.
On Call of Duty, if a dude has Juggernaut, you just need to give up. There's no reason you should try to fight him if he's walking at you. You're gonna die. If in Tarkov, if you're you go in as a scav. I've multiple times I've killed dudes with
when I go
level
as a scav,
4 armors.
I just hunt PMCs.
Yeah, you hunt PMCs and you kill them because most of the time they have their guard down.
Most of the time,
because scavs don't come in until 5 minutes to halfway through the game, and they've killed a couple PMCs, and they're just like, well, the chances that I'll encounter another PMC, and then when they say that, you're behind them with a garbage hunter rifle, and you're pumping shit rounds into them.
And another thing with Tarkov is
all it needs sometimes is just one bullet.
Yeah, another thing with Tarkov is it's so involved as a game. Your ammo counts, the type of magazine you're using matters, the attachments on your gun matter, the armor you're wearing matters. So much so to the point where if you have a face mask, if you forget to put it down, that's your fault, and you're probably going to die.
If you didn't load a round into your chamber, if you didn't rack your weapon, or put a round in while you're in your hideout and you get in and you try to shoot, there's no magically reloads for you. It's just not there.
It doesn't happen with a ton of magazines.
It doesn't even force you to reload at 0 bullets.
Oh no, you have to manually
It'll
reload.
just click, 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 just like real. It's a mil sim, so
yeah.
It
it's
doesn't
almost
happen.
everything I want out of a game, to be honest.
Oh, it's really good.
It
doesn't happen with every magazine, but there are a couple types of magazines that will take in multiple ammo types, but those ammos will only shoot out of certain guns.
True. You can put 5.45 into a 5.56 magazine, but obviously 5.45 will not fire out of a 5.56 weapon, or the 3.66 TKM, technically shotgun round, is the same exact size as a 5.56.
If you put the standard AK mag in any gun, you can put it in an AK-74. You can put an AK-74U. You can put an AK-74UM. But the bullets for all three of those guns are different.
Yep.
Some of them use a 7.62-39. Some use a 7.62-25. Some use a 7.62-30.
The 3.66 will fit, but that's made for smooth bores.
I just like more realistic games nowadays.
That's the only advantage I had from anyone else that, like you guys.
Because of transferred gun knowledge.
I knew all the gun knowledge. I was helping Wayne build guns left and right just because it's realistic gun building, and I know everything about it.
Helps out a lot.
Yeah. Wayne was getting so mad about why guns wouldn't work, and I'd walk him through it, and he said, yeah, I'm missing that. And I'd show him it. But even me, I'll be like, why the fuck isn't this gun working? Because it's a gun that I obviously don't know about. I've never shot a foul in my life, so I'm just like, I don't understand this gun. But basic gun knowledge is almost across the board. If you know how an AK works, you know how the majority of Russian-built weapons
But they can still trick you with an AK, because most of the AKs use a 7.62, but there's a couple AKs like this, like the AK-105 doesn't use a 7.62, it uses a 5.56.
5.56 AK, the 5.45 AK, or the, like I said, the 3.66 TKM.
Yeah.
It's a very in-depth game, so the learning curve compared to like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield is much steeper.
Much steeper, but the payoff's totally.
It's much more rewarding when you succeed. Where in Call of Duty, it's just, all right, I won on the next one.
Also, the dev they're a small person.
Very small team.
They listen.
The entire developer team is fantastic, and I appreciate everything.
Nikita is in charge of most of it, and he just is always involved with the community. The top streamers for his game, he's constantly talking to them because they have the biggest voice and are able to get people's concerns across. And he listens.
Yeah. Yep.
Usually. People really want thermals to be found in raid only, and so far
I think the
he
only
has said
issue
that will not change.
I think the only issue with that is because not everybody has the time to grind it out like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it does help appeal to more of a casual
thermals
player a little bit.
Thermals are such a strong, even with the nerf to their range, they're such a strong item that if you were to do found in raid only, they'd still be put on maps like Reserved or Labs where you have only raiders, or where you have Gluhar who just absolutely murders people. That man is insane. Grenades from space.
Yeah, he is a bit overpowered.
He's got some arms.
He's very strong.
It's impressive on how many grenades they give that man.
Well, have you seen his pockets, or like Killa's pockets?
Yeah, they're huge.
So when a player's pockets have 4 slots, you can put a 1 space item in there.
Theirs have 8.
They have 8. They have double space. They can put whole magazines in their pockets.
Right, they can. Well, let's look at that Adidas tracksuit.
That Adidas tracksuit's got some deep pockets.
This is Tripoloski you're talking about.
Listen, those NPCs are running in there sweating.
Spanish there again. I don't know what I was doing.
That a different way. He was not Russian.
Yubleka.
Yeah, Yubleka. I eat apples. Don't know what that meant. That was Japanese.
I am vegetable. No, I want vegetable, not
I am vegetable.
I want vegetable.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Because like we started yeah, of course, me and Mikey started learning odd languages because we felt like it was something fun to do.
Yep.
And I chose Russian because I was super into Tarkov and I wanted to learn some Russian stuff. So I know a little bit of Russian. Not a lot.
I chose Japanese.
I can read a lot of it.
But he doesn't know enough to get by.
I cannot read any.
I cannot speak it.
I can't read any Japanese at all. I know the symbols, but I can't read that. But I can say it.
Wow, can you believe these guys? I know. But before we get back to that, let's talk about another great business and supporter of the show. Cabbages and Kings Games, formerly Titan Games, is a game and card shop also in Peoria Heights. If you're feeling a little cabin fever lately, then why not help yourself pass the time with a new board game? Whether you like long fantasy games or short family-oriented games, Cabbages and Kings has got you covered. So give them a call or get a hold of them through their Facebook or website, cabbagesandkings.games.
I can speak it pretty well. I just started learning Norwegian.
Like I can kind of say certain things. Some things I can't. Like etedom, this is a house.
Yeah, most of Wayne's sentences are just funny sentences.
They're just statements.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part.
This is my fuck apple. We went around work saying that for a solid month.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun though. It's just that app actually helps out a lot.
Mm-hmm. What app is that?
Duolingo.
It's our sponsor.
Well, I just want context because you went straight into that app and you never told us what it was.
Is Duolingo.
I've had Rosetta Stone, which is obviously the ridiculously expensive courses for learning languages. And the free Duolingo blows Rosetta Stone out of the water. Not the actual Rosetta Stone, actually. The program.
I've been getting a lot of ads for Babbel.
Babbel doesn't really help.
What's Babbel? A ton of ads. Babbel is...
It's another language.
It's another language learning app. It's just like 10-minute little...
I tried
classes,
Babbel. The context is way off on Babbel. Like when you go to Duolingo, it usually...
Duolingo is student driven. It's people that know the language create the lessons. So you can be done with all of your lessons and another one will pop up because they'll find better ways to describe.
So it's like the Skillshare of language.
Basically, yeah.
Kind of. They send you emails often.
Every day it'll say your little Duolingo bird will pop up.
For me, it usually sends.
I remember when the memes were going around where it's like Duolingo's going to cap me.
Yeah, like they would send me an email for after you haven't logged in for like a couple weeks, and it'll stop emailing you. But it's nice for it to email you and remind you, like, hey, do you have some time for Russian today? Because all it takes is 5 minutes to learn a language.
It was addicting for me. Like, I have 4,600 XP because I was nonstop doing Duolingo.
Before we went to sleep, when we were in Colorado, before we went to sleep, you could hear both of us on Duolingo.
Yep. It was just, of us getting it right. Back and forth.
And then in the morning, we would do Duolingo, then we would go.
I think I woke Wayne up.
One morning I woke up because I heard a ba-ding.
All I heard was ba-ding, so I was laying in bed doing Duolingo.
I woke up, I looked over, I was like, yep, Mikey's doing Duolingo again. So then I woke up and then I started doing Duolingo.
He's like, well, I should do something too.
It was a competition. I'm doing Duolingo. No, fuck you, I'm doing Duolingo.
No, because once I was told about it,
XP was a competition to me.
And then as I was using it, Mikey started using it, and then I looked back at 3 days, and Mikey's 1,000 XP past me.
I'll show you where I'm at.
He's like, you've been slacking. I'm like, what do you mean I've been slacking? I didn't realize this is a competition.
I did the same to Lockwood.
Yeah, because you got Lockwood.
I got Nessa into it, then I got Rachel into it.
Rachel's doing Spanish, isn't she?
Yeah.
And then you had Lockwood doing...
It's me at the top.
What was it?
I got it after Wayne.
Yeah.
4,600 XP.
He got it. He turned into a sweaty boy as soon as he started playing it.
I would literally do it for an hour.
Can I just take a second to talk about how happy I am that calling somebody sweaty is the new tryhard? I love that.
These kids are sweating. I remember hearing that in Call of Duty multiple times.
I love it. It's so funny.
Or I'd read in chat on Rocket League, why are you sweaty?
All right, what were you saying?
But because you got Lockwood into it, and he started doing Japanese with you.
He did.
But he did it just so that way you would have another friend on there.
I had to get my achievement. You get an achievement for having another friend, so I referred him.
But the way they categorize it, you're in different leagues for the amount of XP you get. And if you're at the top 10 or so of that league, you get to move up to the next league. So it does kind of make it a little bit of a competition.
I was hardcore on those leagues. Like, I would jump into Emerald League, which is the one I'm stuck at. And within the first...
Because there's people that do 3,000 XP
3 hours, people would be at 4,000 points already. I'm like, these dudes are fucking sweaty, and I'm still at 200. Got ridiculous.
It's a solid thing. It really does help, though, because I have retained most of the knowledge I've learned from it.
It's extremely user-friendly. It does things where they're fun. It makes it a game to you.
For when they do the pictures, they're small animated pictures that a child could easily figure it out.
Yeah. It was super, like, Rosetta Stone was, it seemed like a classroom. Like, you were sitting there, it got boring.
My only complaint about it would be the fact I had to download a different keyboard for my phone.
Mine doesn't, obviously, in Japanese.
Because it couldn't type Cyrillic?
Yes.
In Japanese, there's multiple different scripts. There's, like, kanji, katakana, and there's, like, 3 or 4. I don't know how many there are. There's a stupid amount, but...
Yeah, the type of kanji changes.
Hiragana, the first script you learn, is not a keyboard you can only get katakana or kanji, I think, on iPhone. So I have to use katakana because I'm learning it now, but it's not, like, I'm nowhere near.
Thankfully for me, Cyrillic was on there. Cyrillic actually was, like, super easy for me to figure out.
Cyrillic is literally just the regular Germanic alphabet. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the same number of letters.
Like, I would just describe them as letters that we have. As I would be, like, going through it, like, there's a couple of them that look like I was like, oh, that one looks like a capital N. This one's a lowercase N.
Isn't a P in Cyrillic the same as R? P is R.
Yeah.
All they did was take the foot off.
Pretty much.
Japanese is easy because it's syllables. It's like each character is a syllable.
Yeah, it's a pronunciation.
Yeah, so it's simple. You see the things.
Russian ain't that way.
Yeah. No.
I heard. I read some Russian things that you were saying, and I was like, no, I cannot.
There's a lot of fun things you can do with it once you start figuring it out more.
It's super fun to learn.
The lessons are super in depth and they're super easy to figure out.
Something you can use also when you learn a new language.
Like how we got here from talking about how mad I get at games.
Yeah.
Where the world will bring you.
Hey, dude. We always go random directions. The wind blows wherever it wants to blow, and we follow.
Dust on the wind.
That's all we are. We're fading away.
This is deep.
We got to be careful. We're going to get demonetized.
Speaking of dust on the wind, why is every superhero or any type of movie now letting their characters fade into dust?
Because it was such a hit.
Like, Infinity War did it, and it totally made it understandable. But now, like, almost every movie is doing that with their main characters.
Because I am new to this. Please elaborate.
I've seen, like, 6 different movies over the course of the past, like, year that have had people just fade into dust at the end of the movie.
I don't watch movies.
I don't think I've seen anything like that. No,
I'm not a movie guy, so I don't know.
Onward. Dad fades into dust.
Haven't watched
Great
it.
movie though.
Great movie, fantastic movie.
One of the best I've seen.
But the
recently.
dad still fades into dust. Sorry if it's a spoiler for you. You should have watched it when it came out.
Probably.
Show some support, damn it.
Almost made me cry. Good movie. Rachel was
fantastic
asleep,
movie.
made me watch it.
That brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah. Last part.
I heard it was super underrated.
And
that
the last
a lot of people didn't watch it.
The last movie that brought a tear to my eye before Onward was Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yeah, I was fucking there. I turn over. This dude's red in the face.
I cry often to movies. I cried during WALL-E.
I ain't ashamed of crying during movies.
Some things hit you.
I cried during Infinity War.
The Boy and the Beast.
I cried during Endgame.
The Boy and the Beast brought a tear to my eye.
What is that?
That was a good movie.
Did you watch The Boy and the Beast?
Yes.
After I recommended it to you?
Yes.
And I told you about it? So, The Boy and the Beast is an anime movie that I told Wayne about, and when I explained it, he said, that sounds fucking weird.
The way he explained it was super weird, but then when you watch it, you feel it.
It's an emotional ride. So there's this kid who runs away from home, and he ends up going through some magical alley that takes him to a different world, and the world is...
it's a similar concept to, like, have you ever seen Spirited Away?
Yeah, it's very similar to Spirited Away.
It's very similar to that.
It's not a Miyamoto movie, but it's very similar to Spirited Away, where he ends up in a different world where everybody's an animal, and it's sort of a Edo period type situation where it's not quite feudal ancient Japan, but it's definitely not modern in any way.
It's a little in between.
And everybody there is an animal.
Yeah, they're all animal peoples.
So he gets raised by a bear.
Actual animals?
Yes.
Or like animal-human hybrids?
Like they're
personified
hybrids.
animals.
It's like,
they're humanoid.
Pig person, bear person.
So they like walk on
person.
Yeah, they walk on hind legs. They speak.
Little hybrid.
And he ends up getting raised by a bear. This bear adopts him and takes him in as...
The bear's a freaking samurai.
Dude, the bear is a man. And he treats him like his own kid. He's like, listen, I'm just going to be a dad to this guy. He's abandoned here and everybody's treating him like garbage. I'm going to take him in. It becomes a very emotional movie towards the end. It takes a weird spin. He ends up finding his way back to the human world. And so he just goes back and forth and lives this double life. And you get to see his struggles. But not only do you see his struggles, you see the struggles of what's going on around him with the people he's meeting, his bear dad.
Yep.
It's a very emotional movie.
His bear dad ends up dying towards the end.
It's a very emotional movie. It's fantastic.
Brightside, he comes back as a sword.
He does.
He gets reincarnated as a sword.
One of the big things in their society is... if you pass away, there's a chance you come back as a sword. If you come back as a sword, that means you lived an amazingly righteous, important life. Like, you reached your goals. You deserve to be remembered. And you come back as a sword. It's a very
super cool.
It's a very good
I
movie.
might have to watch it.
It's pretty solid as far as like a watch. It's definitely worth watching it.
Yeah, you should have heard how skeptical Wayne was the first time I told it to him.
Well, the way he described it to me, he's like, "There's a bear samurai that raises a human kid."
And you were like,
bear
okay,
samurai.
dude.
He's like, bear samurai, aka bear dad dies, comes back as a sword.
And you were like,
I was
terrible.
like, okay, this is a bull crap. And then I was like, last movie I watched like that was like Spirited Away, and it was pretty good though. And he's like, well, if you like Spirited Away, you'll like this, I guarantee it.
Who makes
That
it?
was
Is it a
right.
small studio?
It's not a small studio. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll look it up real quick. But it's, for reference, it's called The Boy and the Beast, and it was made in 2015. Fantastic.
I'll put a picture of the cover art on.
There's a couple movies that made me cry. End of Watch made me cry. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've not seen it. To watch.
It's about the two cops. Got Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
Oh, I saw that on Netflix.
That made me cry.
Seems familiar. Jake Gyllenhaal
Towards
does a
the
lot of movies.
Him and Michael Pena, I think his name is. He's the dude in Fury.
Oh, I can't.
He's all right.
I'm sorry. I don't know some movies sometimes.
That made me cry. Wally made me cry.
Cried in Tokyo Drift when Han died.
Cried in the Box Trolls.
The Boy and the
ever
Beast
seen
was
the
made
Box
by.
I've
Trolls?
not seen the Box Trolls.
It was made by
Very
Studio
good.
Chizu.
Studio Cheese.
I've heard of them.
So I'm gonna see what else they made just for reference.
I'm pretty sure I've heard of them. Box Trolls, me and Johnny watched randomly. Didn't even know what the movie was about. Clicked it. This looks interesting.
Solid.
It's claymation.
Ah, okay.
It's extremely good.
Claymation
It's a
movies are
very
super good.
good movie.
No,
very well made.
They made another movie called Wolf Children, which I have not seen, but I've seen trailers for and the look of, and it's basically a mother who raises these two kids who are wolves together, and it's also supposed to be another emotional one. Everything I've seen so far about the movies they've made have been very emotionally driven. It's just about the struggle of life.
Animes are just different.
They always hit differently too.
They put so much time and effort in the animation. I don't know. It's like it's weird to be that attached
It's like
to
when
a
you
not
watch,
real person.
It's like when you watch a stop motion film. Anything stop motion is like super good, like Kubo and the Two Strings.
that might
Kubo
have
was
like
very
a.
It's a
emotional.
fantastic movie.
It may have like a shout out to like our childhood, like a nostalgia effect.
It could
Avatar.
be.
Because a
Avatar
lot of
was
stop
fantastic.
motion.
Avatar: The Last Airbender was a
That
series.
was a super good one. I didn't really like the Legend of Korra too much.
I tried to get into Legend Korra. There's nothing wrong with Legend Korra. I like the Legend Korra series.
It's still good. I just think
It definitely has a very different feel to it.
They tried to capture like the same kind of like stuff they would capture in the first Avatar, but
I think
it
in
just
the-
wasn't hitting the same.
I think in the first two seasons of Korra, they
live
tried.
action Avatar is fucking garbage.
Oh my god, I hate it. But I think in the first two seasons of Korra, they
I was
tried
never
to
into Avatar.
recapture that Avatar feel. But then they realized they're making a different show, and so the last half of Korra, they're like, "This is just going to be its own thing." And it really took off from there.
I wasn't into anime that big when I was younger. Like Naruto when it first came out.
I didn't realize I was
Didn't
into
really-
it.
I didn't realize until not really that long ago. That
Well, I didn't even know what it
That
was
you
when I was
into it?
younger. Because
when I was
a
younger,
little kid,
I watched
like,
Dragon Ball Z.
I
Did
watched-
not
You just think
consider
it's a
it.
cartoon?
Yeah, I
Didn't
watched
even
Pokemon.
consider
I watched
Pokemon,
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I saw Cowboy
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Bebop on Adult
Digimon,
Swim.
yeah, adult-
I had
yeah,
no
Cowboy
idea.
Bebop.
I just thought these were cool cartoons. I had
Yeah,
no
yeah.
idea the difference.
Anime, and then when I was growing up, people were like anime, and I was like, who watches anime? No, not
Apparently.
knowing that I watched anime all the time.
Yeah, apparently, it's an extremely sensitive subject to the weeb community. If you call anime cartoons, they fucking lose it.
Yeah,
It's
I mean-
different. It's a different genre. It's a different art
I
form.
mean, isn't in Japan?
it's essentially a
in
Japanese.
Japan,
cartoon.
it's
a
not
cartoon.
isn't it like their shows though? Like
Yeah.
they don't consider it a cartoon as we do in America. They're like that's just a show. Like if
Yeah.
we were watching.
Yeah.
Well, like The Boy
anything.
and the Beast at box office in Japan made like $55 million.
Yeah, it's just like a normal.
like it made a ridiculous amount of money in theaters.
Yeah.
That's
just
like their
another form
standard,
of entertainment.
Yeah, their standard shows they don't consider cartoon. I
It's
don't
just
think
another
they
form
might
of
not have a
entertainment. To them, it's like
category for it.
Probably
it's like
not.
Disney movies, like Pixar movies. To us,
Yeah.
you don't consider a Disney or Pixar movie a cartoon.
No,
but
it's
it is.
it's a Disney. Yeah, you
Yeah.
would say a Disney movie. I watched a
I
Disney
really
movie.
wish Disney would push back their stuff they're releasing in November this year. Push
Like
it
what?
back for me, please.
What are they releasing?
I really want Godzilla to do well. Godzilla vs. Kong.
You don't want it to get
But
outshined.
they literally just put a Pixar movie on the same day.
And you
That
know,
kind of
just a
upsets me.
powerhouse
Because
of
it's
Disney.
because it's a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
It's a Disney power like it's the movie Soul. They push it back on the same exact day Godzilla comes out, and it's like just because it's a Pixar movie, more families are going to go to that.
Here's a question:
I don't really see a
Disney
lot
or
of
Pixar? Which one
Disney
do you
or
like?
Pixar.
Like movies, which one do you like? Do you
I'll pick
consider
Pixar. I'm not a big musical guy, and most Disney movies end up singing.
I'm with you. I like.
I'd say Disney because I like the music aspect of a lot of them.
I'm a Pixar man over Disney.
Like I really
Wall-E.
do enjoy like a lot of the like
Ooh,
older
That's a Pixar movie.
Disney. like as far as like music goes. The newer music I can't really get behind.
I was never into older
But like
Disney
you got like
movies
old
or
like
music.
Mulan and Hercules and stuff like that. Like I can get behind the music of that.
I was never
I'll sing
shown
that stuff all day.
as a kid. I was never really like no one really showed me a lot of older.
I like
Disney
the more
movies or anything.
cartoony stuff in Disney, like 101 Dalmatians, Disney style movies like that. Like Anastasia, not a Disney movie, but a Disney style movie that I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, I mean, but as far as like overall like plot to the movies, I think I do enjoy the Pixar animated movies more.
I don't know what Bolt was. Have you watched Bolt?
I've seen Bolt.
Bolt, I think it's a Pixar.
Is that
movie.
Pixar? Yeah, I thought it was.
I think so.
I don't know. Wally's Pixar. Bolt. What was Onward? Pixar? I think it was.
Onward's a Pixar.
Pixar
It's
film.
a Pixar Disney film.
Look it up right now.
I think they're together, aren't they?
They are together, but it's like a.
It's
different.
animated
people.
by Pixar rather
Different,
than
yeah.
animated by Disney.
Exactly. I think Pixar
The movies
does
that get
really
animated by Pixar are way better. I feel realistically, the movies that get animated by Disney are more cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
As were like the movies animated by Pixar are like actual animation, like Toy Story and stuff like that.
It's a Disney Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
I
they're
just,
the same, but it's like
I'm just speaking out because I really want Godzilla to do well, so they keep making them because I really enjoy them because they are telling a really good story as far as like from a fan perspective. Like they're giving different directors different shots to do their thing.
My favorite thing so far with the new Godzilla series that's coming out. In the first movie, they said there wasn't enough story. It was too much monster fighting.
Yeah.
So in the second movie, there was more monster fighting, and everybody who said there wasn't enough story said there's too much story, or they said there's not enough story in the second one.
Not enough monsters.
It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want monsters
understand.
fighting or story?
Like, I want balance.
Like there needs, like I understand, like the character development. For me, it doesn't need to be there because your characters are the monsters.
I feel like it can be minimized. You can have Godzilla showing, his dominance here or there, or showing like he doesn't want to be evil here or there. But for the most part, it's just giant monsters fighting.
Yeah, like in the most recent one.
Me not being a Godzilla super fan like Wayne is.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the 1998.
The Toho Godzilla?
The one that every Godzilla fan considers garbage. Where it's like Godzilla's a Velociraptor. Was that 2000 something?
Oh, where he was a dinosaur.
He was a straight up giant Velociraptor.
He was a Godzillasaurus. Yeah.
I like
the giant lizard thing in New York.
Yes, I like that.
Where he laid eggs in a skyscraper. How, by the way?
You're talking about that one where he was an iguana.
He ate it in a Coliseum also.
Yeah, how did he lay eggs in a skyscraper?
I don't know. I'm not. This is what I'm saying. I'm not a Godzilla fan. I enjoyed it.
I keep saying she.
It was a girl.
She laid eggs.
I
enjoyed that one.
That Godzilla is an asexual Godzilla.
Anyways, regardless, my point.
So how did it?
Michael's point.
Gender specific here. How did it lay?
Because
in a building. That's my question. I don't care that it laid eggs.
It can reproduce on its own. It's an asexual being.
The fact that it
Mikey
just
then
stick the tip of its tail through the window and just.
No, it went into the building. Like you can see the damage where it was. What's your question?
I didn't have a question. I was making a point, but you guys started doing your own thing. I was just saying, as someone that's not, you guys are both avid Godzilla fans.
Oh, way more than I.
Yeah, but me, not at all.
Most of my knowledge has come from him.
I've seen that Godzilla, the one that everyone considers not Godzilla, and then I've seen what was obviously not the most recent Godzilla they released, but the one after that one they released one that was
the
huge.
Cartoon one.
No, that was huge. It was, I don't know. There's a part where he's running across the train bridge. The guy, he's a soldier. He's running across the train bridge, lays down.
Oh, the first one, the first
the
one,
the new Legend Godzilla 2014.
That one. Yeah. I've seen, those are the two Godzillas I've seen, and I enjoyed both of them a lot.
Really watch King of the Monsters.
But I'm just not into Godzilla that much.
You should see some of the Shin Godzilla
I enjoy
movies.
it as a film, but
Shin Godzilla.
Cool. Actually no, I did see Shin Godzilla and I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean it's really cool on how he destroys most of Tokyo.
I liked that his Godzilla was different. That Godzilla was
very different.
How his Godzilla just has a laser.
I just wish that Legendary and the studio in Japan would stop having a pissing contest about the size of Godzilla.
They just keep making
Shin Godzilla wasn't
massive. It? Didn't they make a Godzilla and then the American studio made him 1 meter taller?
No, our Godzilla versus 2014, I think was right at 100 meters or so.
He was big, but the Shin one was bigger, right?
The Shin one was bigger by 50 meters.
Stupid big.
So then when they made the Godzilla King of the Monsters, we again made it bigger than the Shin Godzilla, which I really wish we'd stop doing.
It can only get so big before it's ridiculous. It's already ridiculous because it's a giant monster, but at least it's not, the size of the Empire State Building or something. It's not the size of the tallest buildings we have. It's not the size of the Dubai Tower.
The huge Godzilla that I accept is the Godzilla Earth in the animated series. there should never be a Godzilla that actually is that big. But in the animated series, they explained why he was that big.
Is
it
it
totally made it make sense because it's
what's
like
that D&D creature?
Trask?
Yeah.
I knew immediately.
Completely unnecessary. Like, you will not die.
You cannot kill a Trask.
Yeah, it's like that thing does not need to be there.
No. You straight up can't kill it.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost
can't appear
like,
literally anywhere.
Impossible. Yeah.
Won't die. If you try to hurt it, it basically will get stronger.
Yeah.
You can hurt a Trask, and you can, quote-unquote, kill a Trask, but it doesn't actually die. I could talk about this for a while, but we won't. But basically, a Tarrasque is equivalent to a force of nature. The reason there's only one is because only one can exist. It is a true immortal. Every time it, quote-unquote, dies, it basically just falls asleep until it heals, and then it comes back.
Yeah. You can't kill it.
Other than the
you
gods of D&D, and even most of the gods aren't true immortals.
Mm-hmm.
Other than some of the over-created... This episode is brought to you by the Beard Struggle. It's always time to grow out your face forest, so why not start today? And while you're at it, you'll need some solid products for the upkeep of your beard. The Beard Struggle has everything from trimmers to straighteners and day-to-day care tools. So visit thebeardstruggle.com and use promo code TIMESUP15 at checkout for 15% off. Come on, guys. Don't let your beard be weird. Get the products you need. And if you're not sure what you need, they have a quiz just for you to get products tailored to those needs. Again, visit thebeardstruggle.com and use code TIMESUP15 at checkout. That's TIMESUP15. May Odin be with you. The true gods of D&D, the Tarrasque is one of the only actually immortal existences.
So, I mean, that's just how he is. Like,
but yeah, he's pretty big.
Yeah,
he's a big boy.
He's insane.
He's
huge. Even if you're a level 20, he's gonna be something you do not want to encounter.
No, you can't. Oh no.
No.
A full party level 20 would struggle against a Tarrasque.
Yeah,
and that's just to stop him, not to beat him.
Yeah, struggle as in subdue him enough to get away.
you want a full party wipe? That's how you do it.
And if your DM decides that Tarrasque wants to follow you,
yeah,
he can.
If you want to beat a Tarrasque, you have to have epic leveled characters, which I don't know how those work in 5e.
OP
Are
weapons,
there even epic levels in 5e?
Yeah. You'd have to know how to use all your spells and your strength.
It would take some serious magic shenanigans, especially since a Tarrasque is immune to all magic.
You can't even wish it away.
No, you can't. It's immune to wish.
Yep.
You'd have to have a really coordinated team, and your best bet.
However, you can use wish to beat a Tarrasque, but it's you got to really play with the rules, and your DM has to really allow.
He's going to make you roll, and you probably got to get lucky with a couple rolls.
You got to wish for situations that happen to the Tarrasque, but don't involve the Tarrasque specifically.
Because it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't affect the Tarrasque.
Because the second the Tarrasque is part of the wish, the fail spells or the spell fails.
Yeah, and your DM might just make you waste a spell.
Dude,
sometimes D&D's a crazy.
It depends on what worlds you're casting a wish spell in. Because I don't know how it works in 5e, but if you're casting a wish spell in the earlier forms of D&D, there's a 50% chance you never get to cast wish again, and you lose a level. You go straight to 19. You have to be 20 to cast a wish. Yeah. You go to 19, not only can you not cast it, but you won't know if you're ever going to get to cast it again.
In Critical Role, what level were they at the end of the first campaign? Were they 20?
I think, they were 20.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they were 20s.
Because that was the only thing that's going to allow
Scanlan
possibly allow Scanlan to keep Vax around.
Mm-hmm.
When I mean,
and that still would be that's still
it's a possibility,
but it's like at that point I'd say it can happen.
It was a good send away.
If you roll a 20,
it was a good send away that Vax died.
I mean, because I feel like he was always going to die regardless. Because I feel like
he made the pact with the Raven Queen.
I feel like the wish spell wouldn't have worked because she is a divine being.
You think a wish spell would work on Godzilla?
Yeah.
Wish away Godzilla. I mean, he's only what is it? He's not.
Well, you got to think
kaiju.
Yeah, you think you wish away Godzilla. How do you think?
Yeah, but how does magic work with radiation? We don't know.
I mean, one of those is real, one of them ain't.
Magic could just be a lot of gamma radiation coming out of our hands.
Always magic in my heart, okay?
What a guy.
I think that's just the cancer.
No, but
I think that's just the cancer. There's an announcement Mark's going to make.
But that's a situation. I really do enjoy the way that Godzilla stuff is being written now. I really also like the way they're doing the music because the music fits perfectly with the movie.
I don't know if I have a movie that I'm passionate about like you are about most movies.
I'm really passionate about movies. I
don't see any movie that I mean, my favorite movie of all time is Saving Private Ryan.
It's a solid movie,
it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not passionate about it. I know a ton about World War II, but that's history.
You have the box sets of the Pacific and Band of Brothers?
I have both of those, yes.
Me too.
But I do not really care for the Pacific. I liked Band of Brothers. Pacific was okay.
I enjoy the Pacific for what it is.
It was a good one-watch thing.
But
I can watch
between the
Saving
two-
Private Ryan over and over and over and
What's
over.
the most recent war movie you've seen?
Most recent war movie I've seen? Overlord, which is a fictional war movie about the Nazis. And
What about like realistic
zombies.
war movie? When was the last time you watched one of those?
Like a realistic...
As in, like, it was like a modern type of, like, in somewhere in our history it actually
Probably say Lone Survivor.
Lone Survivor was probably the most
Based
recent
off of the true. That's
Because
probably
I
the
watched
most
that
recent one.
in 1940,
1917.
whatever that one was, World War One style movie. That was a super good
Very
movie
good.
for what it
Very
was.
I think the last
And
one...
I was confused on why
Dunkirk, not Denmark.
I was confused on why people were buying a lot of like the 1917.
I want to watch Dunkirk. I think the most
Super
recent
good.
one I saw was Hacksaw Ridge. That's the last one I saw.
Hacksaw Ridge, that was
Hacksaw
the
Ridge
people
was
that
a
made Saving
fantastic
Private
movie
Ryan,
also.
so I really wanted to watch it, but again, I'm not for some reason I fell out of being a movie guy, and I'm just not.
I think since you're into the World War II and the military movies, you should check out Hacksaw Ridge and Fury if you haven't watched Fury.
I've watched Fury a million times.
Yeah.
I own it.
Hacksaw
Fury
Ridge is
is
very
fantastic.
good. Definitely watch Hacksaw
I
Ridge.
like-
We just talked about Fury the other day while we were cleaning the shotgun.
Yeah, what
We
did we
did,
say about
Because
it?
we were talking. Because we watched a video of a dude shoot safes with a tank.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were
So we
watching
were talking
it, yeah.
about like just
Have you
thinking
seen
about
Unbroken?
Yes.
It, like, yes.
Watch
The
Unbroken too.
pilot and the
Fantastic
Olympic
movie.
dude. Yeah.
Unbroken's another
Uh,
one.
That's a true story, isn't it?
Yep. Yep, Unbroken happened.
I really enjoyed that actor because he was in a movie, like a TV show I used to watch
I
all the
think
time
there's
when I was in high school.
some creative liberties.
I mean, yeah, but there's
Yes.
always you never.
But that
know
definitely happened to a
exactly
guy.
What
Yeah.
happened
like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Like when he held up the log for 40 minutes. I don't know if it was exactly 40.
Saving Private Ryan is based off a true story, but it obviously didn't happen.
Well,
Like
so is
they
like the
made it.
American Sniper Chris Godwin.
I mean that, yeah, and they obviously have no idea what exactly went down.
Yeah.
They just know they just portrayed him in a good way.
Yeah.
I've heard, like there's a ton of things that the actual people have complained about.
You know what one of my
obviously,
favorite World
but-
War II movies is?
What's that?
Monuments Men.
What's that?
I've
Never
not seen that.
So
Never
the
heard or
Monuments Men has got George Clooney in it and a bunch of other actors. It's got Matt Damon.
So it's a little older, not like a new
No, it's 2014, I think.
14, really. Huh?
Yeah.
That's odd. To have
And
George Clooney.
George Clooney in the movie.
well, what it is, it's a group of like artists and historians and museum curators that they got into a special unit, and their entire purpose was to find all the stolen art.
This sounds like
I know
the
what you're
mus-
talking
the
about. Never
people that
mind.
stare
I've heard
at
of
notes.
this. And they go, and they protect it, right? They find it.
The
and
whole point of their mission is to find the stolen
Yes.
art and make sure that they take it back.
I've heard of it.
and
definitely-
they found most
And
of
I
it.
watched that
That
one.
definitely sounds like the men who stare at goats.
Yeah, but that movie was good, but funny.
Yeah, they found most of it.
Yeah, I remember that because that was true.
Mhm.
Story also.
Yeah, that was the thing, and also
They
happened.
needed to protect all the valuable arts.
I love that movie too. It's a good movie.
What was the other movie I was thinking of? I forgot.
Couldn't tell you.
I just had one in my head when you were
Couldn't touch
saying
it.
it.
You know anything about the movie? Can you describe it? Maybe we'll work it out.
I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking Hamburger Hill. Have you ever seen that movie?
Nope.
No,
Old movie about
no,
Vietnam.
it's very old. It's black and white.
It's
Isn't it?
about Vietnam. No,
No,
it's not black and white, but it's really.
Oh, what am I
it's
thinking of? I think I'm
grainy.
thinking Bay of Pigs.
It's grainy. Hamburger Hill is grainy. It's
Bay of Pigs is black and white.
that movie was really. Oh, I was thinking of Jarhead, the first one, obviously.
The first
the first-
Jarhead was good.
Listen,
Very good.
all the other Jarheads after that.
Were just a joke.
They made
Nope.
action movies. Jarhead was about the mental strain on a Marine.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the whole thing that it was
They were
about,
just trying to
and it was
ride that
really
cash
good.
cow home.
Hurt Locker,
The original Jarhead, Hurt Locker.
very good. I like
Hurt Locker was a solid
what's his
movie.
name,
They take you
Jeremy Renner.
Yep, they take you
Like
on.
him a lot.
They
but-
take you on a journey through the struggles,
Mhm.
trials and tribulations.
Yep.
That soldiers actually have
It
to
doesn't
face.
even directly go
No.
into his mental, like what the whole movie is about.
It doesn't need to.
You have to watch it like 3 times. Like I had to watch it 2 times, and I realized that like I paid attention to the military aspect the first time, like how they're doing it.
You
They're
didn't pay
two
attention to his
teammates,
mind.
and then like the end scene where he's packing up all his shit, just going to the next fucking thing because he can't go home because he feels most at home where he's there. Like that. Yeah, the second time I watched it, I was like, oh. Same thing with Jarhead. I watched
Just like
it once.
those people that just can't get out.
Yeah, once I watched it for the military. Like, wow, this is crazy. These dudes go a lot of shit. Obviously, you'll never truly know. But then the second time I watched it, I was like, holy shit, this is like diving into the mind of how
Jarhead.
he
You have to
feels.
get David on here one time and talk about this kind of
definitely.
stuff.
Yeah,
Jarhead really took me on a
First-hand
journey. The second time I watched Jarhead, I really paid attention to the sniper team more than I did the first time. The first time it was just a movie about guys who had a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time I watched it, I really understood that these people had been trained and basically rewired and reprogrammed that their sole mission in life, the only thing they had to do was take this rifle and shoot who they were supposed to shoot. Shoot that man.
Yeah.
And that was taken from them. And how devastating having your one purpose in life taken from you must be. That's what does the damage to these people. You're told...
they get thrown back into civilian life.
Yeah,
you're told you're
told your entire professional career, the entire time you're in training, the entire time you're in the military, this is what you exist for. You exist for nothing else but this. And then once you're done, just be like, goodbye.
Yeah, that's
how do you adjust?
I mean, when you're a Marine, they say you weren't a Marine. You are a Marine. Even when you're out, you are a Marine.
You're still a Marine.
Every Marine, yeah. You're
Just
never not a Marine.
Weighs on your mind, regardless of the situation. They explain that a lot in that book that you had me read. I can't remember what it was called.
Into the Fire.
Yeah.
By Dakota Meyer.
Yeah, that was a super fantastic book.
Crazy story.
It really puts a lot more
There's a couple of those
in perspective as far as like the Ramadi stuff and everything like that.
If there's a podcast, Jocko Willink's podcast. He was a Navy SEAL. He was at the Battle of Ramadi. Like he held the city of Ramadi all the time. Like it for multiple tours. I think he went back there like twice or something like that. But he has all kinds of stories. He has old Navy SEALs, new Navy SEALs, Rangers. He has all kinds of just basic Marines. He had Dakota Meyer on there. And you hear crazy stories from them. Like the first Navy SEALs that were in Vietnam, that guy, the way he talked about it was like wild. Just the not amount of technology they had going into the jungle.
Yeah. Well, I think like the most accurate war movie there still is, as far as from like the personal aspect that I understand, is like the movie Platoon.
Yeah,
that was
as far as when it touches, it was ahead of its time for touching it on the mental strain.
Yeah,
and the amount of
overall the way combat and everything.
The overwhelming, we're getting our shit pushed in about Vietnam.
Well, like
We Were Soldiers is another one.
I had an uncle and he was there. And then he couldn't finish watching the movie because of how accurate it was.
That's a thing they say about Dunkirk is they had the showing.
They had a special showing with one. I think one of the only survivors left of that operation, and they had him go.
And he couldn't even. He said it was so accurate, like it was he couldn't stay in it. Yeah,
they wanted his blessing before they just sent this movie out. And he goes, "Yes, this is exactly what happened."
It was.
Just for him, he couldn't finish it because of that. Still weighs on his mind today.
I mean, American Sniper lightly touches on, besides the end of the movie where Chris Kyle gets killed by the veteran that had PTSD, but I think Chris Kyle's brother, who was misportrayed in that movie, apparently he was never like that, but he was a Marine, and in that movie he's like super sad, like Chris Kyle's all jacked, Bradley Cooper I should say, who portrays Chris Kyle, was super jacked, ready to go over there, get some action for his country, and his brother's sitting there scared, like not ready to go, and Chris Kyle's, Bradley Cooper's like, why? Like, why are you like this? And apparently that's not exactly how his brother was. His brother was just as amped, ready to go and do it. But it just portrayed like not everyone wanted to do this. Like they understood that they were going over there, but they were scared shitless to go over there.
Not everybody was excited to go over there and do.
No, they didn't want to. Like they doing it for their country, but they were like
they were terrified. Level of like patronage you go through. Like when you see something like that happen, I don't want to get into like conspiracy things, but like when you see something like that happen, if it were to actually happen, when you look at that, like it brings up certain feelings in you that you want to do. Like you want to go over and you want to like take care of like the business that happened. Makes sense, just like I just, for me, like the
feeling of national duty.
Yeah. I would consider myself a patriot. I mean, I love the country of America, the US of A.
Yeah, I love where we live. I don't like the people that run. Where
I'm not a fan of our government, which
government's a joke.
Some people might consider that unpatriotic to like your government, but it's like I like the thought of America, freedom, everything. I can do what I want if I want to. If I want to work hard enough to earn $1 million, I have the choice to. I'm not forced into labor. Correct. If I want to make any ways of money, I can do it.
I just don't like the rat race it's been turned into.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all about
the wage gap. I don't like that.
It's all about increasing your own status as a politician. It's no longer about what's best for the people. It's what's best for
me.
It's what's best for keeping the people in line with
it's like
your views. It's no longer what's best for keeping yourself in line with the people's views.
Most politicians are like, what's best for me and my friends? Like, what's best for me and my other rich friends? How can I make money out of this? Or how can I
convince the people that they want what I'm selling?
Yeah, how can I keep these people voting for me regardless of how I feel or what I'm going to do?
I feel that like government should return the way it used to be, as far as like an all volunteer basis. No one gets paid for that. it's not a career.
Mm-hmm. It should be
like you're there at a specific point in time to talk about what's specifically happening.
I mean, it's hard. I don't know enough about it to say what should and shouldn't.
I mean, I'm not saying like I'm an expert on it.
I know what you're saying. No one has there is no perfect
the two party pissing system we have. Like, it's just an overall pissing contest of what's going on.
No one can have a civil conversation.
No.
Everyone has to yell at each other and talk over each other, and no one can.
If you're so far to the right or so far to the left, you shouldn't be involved.
Like, people would consider, since me and Wayne like guns, they take it that our views are all Republican because we agree with gun rights. When that's not near what, like, most people have conflicting political views based off of the Democratic/Republican system. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't agree with everything of either sides.
I think if most people sat down and actually went over each and every policy that aligned with their personal views, they'd find out they're mostly independent.
I like how we said earlier.
We weren't going to get political.
Yeah. We're not going to get political.
That's why I'm trying to keep it neutral and
now
say people are independent.
100% political.
No, they are. I just... The way it's set up now is stupid. And who knows, maybe the world needs a little bit of communism.
You need to back up, Mr. China.
Oh, my...
No.
To take your
On
guns.
that note, let's just talk about something else.
Yeah, all right. We weren't gonna get political. We were just in a topic, and we just
bubblegum or taffy.
I mean, I guess that's how you know it's a genuine conversation. We're just not like, talking shit out of our ass, talking about things we care about.
It's always stuff we care about here.
It's shit out of our face.
Like we won't talk about stuff we don't want to talk about. No, that's just how it is.
Normally, you guys talk about magic. I don't know dick about magic.
Yeah, but you'll still listen to
I'll listen because I'm interested.
Because at some point you feel like you might be into it.
Yeah.
It's like how before I started getting into guns, I wasn't like...
Mark, no one, I didn't talk about guns. I talked about guns a little bit too, but I never extensively talked about guns. So I was like, Wayne doesn't care about guns.
And then now I can...
I'm like, look at this page. Check out this gun. Look at this. You bolt carriers, charging handles.
Yep. It's very nice. Like, a lot of people can get upset about like us owning guns and everything like that, but by all means, I don't care.
I'm one of the people that...
If you have a gun, you have a gun. It's just how it is.
If a lot of people are like, government can't take my guns. If the government wants to take my guns and there's a law to take my guns, I'm a law-abiding citizen and I will let them take my guns. I know that's not most people that own guns.
That doesn't sound very Second Amendment.
Exactly. Most people that own guns are like, nope, I ain't giving you my fucking guns.
I have the right to bear arms. You have the right to own a musket.
And if no one in the world...
That's what that rule is tailored to.
If no one in the world had guns, I would not carry a gun.
There'd be no reason
I wouldn't care to have a gun that much if it wasn't like a thing.
The people that talk about how the rules of engagement in war. Fuck that. For me, I don't like that. That's stupid. No one else fucking uses that shit.
I say it's stupid as well, but obviously when you're a soldier, that's drilled into your head.
Yeah, I totally understand the situation, but
it's
for me being on the outside looking into it, it's like for me that's stupid because no one else plays by that rule book.
Anyways, getting political again.
I don't know if does that fall under political.
That's political.
A little bit.
That's 100% political.
You're talking specifically about the
drone
Geneva
strikes
Convention.
on civilians.
Yeah, and the Geneva Convention. That's pretty political.
Yeah.
My thought on gun ownership is you should be allowed to own just about anything you can afford. Like if a soldier could carry it, you should be able to have it.
I'm just saying, the last war we used it, we abandoned that and we won.
My thing is like, there's only so many things you can justify when you own them as necessary. Like if you want to have a 50 cal, absolutely get a Barrett.
Yeah.
But that's a joy gun. That's a fun gun. That is not personal defense.
You shoot that every once in a while.
You cannot say that this is personal defense. I'm going to sweep a room. That gun is 6 feet long. Fuck you. You're not sweeping a room.
Also, if anyone, like, a lot of the people that own guns are like, I ain't going to let the government take my guns. If a militarized government wants to take your guns,
they're taking your
They don't
guns.
care about your nice house.
Yeah, your guns are going with them, whether or not you do.
You're one man against an army with tanks, helicopters, jets. Like, obviously, they're not going to expand that ordinance on your house, but they're going to get your fucking guns one way or another. You have nothing to say about it.
I think the one thing we have on our side is, like, military, almost everybody who serves volunteered to be there. Like, they didn't
That's
do
the
that.
thing about our...
They didn't do that because they were made to. They did that because they wanted to. Mm-hmm. So it would be very difficult if anybody ever got into political power to decide that this is a military
state. You see that
with
cops right now, how they're doing the whatever red flag law or whatever. Multiple cops and sheriffs they will not go to take, and they're getting fired and stuff because they don't want to They think it's against the Constitution.
So,
to
like
go
the
take
people who
someone's
are
guns.
stocking
It's
up.
not technically against the Constitution.
No.
So the
It's
people
their
who are
job.
stocking up
Because
and
like I
preparing
said-
for the doomsday scenario, like, oh, the military's going to come
Preppers.
after me.
No.
I really doubt they will. They're Americans first.
Yes.
The way
There
that
would be an
like,
overthrown government
it's just
before that happened.
to be like all the amendments need reworked.
Except for the racial and sexual ones. Like, women deserve to vote.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
So do black people.
I'm not saying. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Your
That's not
amendments
at all
first,
what I'm
Blake.
I'm just saying they all need reworked for like modern time. Because with how long ago they were written, they don't match up with how times are now.
I
I don't think they expected the government to exist for 250 years.
No,
Which
like, that's
no
why-
government normally does.
That's why
like,
it needs like tailor them to more like a today's thing.
Well, because like the original Second Amendment,
Like errata, like do like a errata like they do on Magic cards.
yeah,
That's all it needs.
The Second Amendment is so misconstrued and opinionated and
It is.
misinterpreted, and I'm not saying I know the proper interpretation, but more than likely with the phrasings, the terms, the way they spoke then,
They were for then,
the
not
way
for now.
the way it's written
I mean,
isn't
they
to say
were-
like everybody should own a musket. The way it's written is, the right to bear arms. You have the right to take up arms in defense of your home
Also,
and your homeland.
they weren't dealing with what those people were dealing with, where they just overthrew Britain's tyrannical rule on the
Correct.
colonies. They just like they were like this.
They
could
literally
happen.
just
Yeah,
oppressed a government.
This shit could happen at any second. You all need to be armed in case Britain comes back and tries to take our shit. Now we're
Or if France sees we're weak, or something like that.
Yeah,
Which
Fran-
technically they wouldn't do. I'm pretty sure France was our ally through that.
France has always been our ally almost.
Even when they were
Because
bad
they're
guys.
weak.
They sold us a lot of land too.
Yeah, they
pretty sure
did.
France was like feeding the colonies weapons at that time.
Yeah.
They were sending us weapons.
And then
It's
in
just-
return, we fed them a bunch of Kentucky
Like,
rifles.
I'm just saying they need to be made to where they're more for modern time.
I think more importantly than that,
Like, not completely redone,
the majority of
but also like this whole like free speech thing. Like, believe it or not, people can control what you say on the internet.
I mean,
do
Canada,
it all
people
the
can
time.
control you in real life. Canada, it will give you fines if you say the wrong thing, and that's ridiculous. They're
Like,
I
I understand. I understand. Well, I have the freedom of speech. It's like you have the freedom of what comes out of your mouth, not what you put on the internet.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, you politically have the freedom of speech. You can go to a rally, you can go to a protest,
Yeah,
you
you
can
can
make a
say- you
statement
can
to
say
your
your piece.
government or local officials and say whatever you want, with the exception of threatening their lives.
Yes, that's where you draw the line. 'Cause
but
that's
here's the
not
thing.
like being normal.
No.
People who are freaking out about their freedom of speech on Facebook is a private entity.
Mhm.
They have the right to decide what they do and do not endorse.
Yes, they can do whatever they
Your
want.
freedom of speech means nothing to them as a company. You have given them the right to decide what you are and are not allowed to say on their platform.
That's like if you go into a restaurant and you start doing dumb shit, they can be like,
They
"Get
can
out!"
kick you out. Yeah.
You
It's
can't
the
just
same
be
thing as,
I
like,
have the
throwing-
freedom of being
it's-
where I'm at.
Well, that's like people
It's the
that,
same
like,
thing
people
as
that shop at
throwing
retail
food.
stores.
Yeah.
You come in and be an asshole. The retail
Yeah.
store can make you leave.
The best part about being manager at Menards,
It's like it's
9
just-
times out of 10, Jerry's gonna agree with me when I say this dude's being an asshole and he needs to leave.
An asshole.
Yeah, I don't want to be mean.
Well, it's just no. See, they've lost that step.
Yeah,
A lot of retail stores have lost that step because, like, the person that's there shopping
customer's
as a
always
consumer,
right.
fuck you.
I hate when the people are the customer. The
Like-
customer's not always right.
If you come to me and
The
ask
customer
me,
is
like,
always
a
right if
question,
you want to make money.
Business standpoint,
Like-
customer is always right.
yeah, like, there's
Logical standpoint,
so many
customer's
times-
often wrong.
so many times, like, I was helping out in a different department one day, and then Travis, he was there. Travis, like a contractor that's been coming in for so long, came in. We told them, like, we told the couple that he was helping that they were buying the wrong stuff because he told them to buy the wrong stuff. Explaining them what they needed to use so that it would properly get done. This contractor fucked up. He fucked up the bowling alley when he redid the bowling alley because he didn't listen when they redid their flooring, and the whole flooring buckled because you got to separate it like you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact: if you don't separate it every so many feet, guess what? It falls apart because it can't handle it. It's a floating floor.
Yeah, it can't hold itself up.
That's just how it is. A lot of people won't understand that, and I don't expect people to because unless they deal with it.
Yeah.
But like the contractor was selling the wrong adhesive for the wrong stuff, so he's trying to get them to buy an adhesive that can literally eat their product, like literally eat through it. And then Luke and Travis were trying to explain that to them, and then he started copying an attitude with Travis, and they started yelling at Luke, and then Travis just fucking had enough of it. Like, Travis is the kind of guy, he doesn't take that
Yeah,
shit.
Travis definitely isn't I'm gonna think and then talk. He's like,
No.
I'm gonna yell at you, then I'm gonna think about what I did, and probably not regret it.
No, because like he told the guy like straight fuck off. Like he came over to me and he asked me for the phone so that way he could call one of the GMs over, and then Like when he called the GM over, like he just came up to me. He's like, give me the fucking phone. I need to fucking call whoever is on duty at the moment. I'm not gonna say who was on duty, but if you listen to it, then you know
Whoever's MOD.
and you know you fucked up. Because the guy flat out said, like, he asked what time Travis was off so he could wait in the parking lot and fight Travis.
And that's a threat.
Which is a threat, and if you're, like, at that point, the dude should be trespassed from the store and not allowed to come back.
Threatening an employee, that's a questionable thing to do.
The guy was able to just buy what he wanted. We all got yelled at for it. Travis left that day. That dude was waiting in the parking lot. Travis was on the other side of the parking lot, though. Travis only saw him when he was leaving. And at that point, it's like, that dude literally waited in the parking lot to fight him.
Yeah.
And
just for words.
That guy's not getting in trouble
for trying to help him.
Like, at that point, I just told Keith, I was like, I'm not fucking helping that guy ever again.
Yeah, there's no longer a threat. At that point, it was premeditated.
Travis got fired for that because he said fuck in front of the customer.
That's so dumb.
Which is the dumbest reason. The way that dude was yelling, like, the dude, like he aggressively went towards Luke like he was going to punch him. And at that point, that's when Travis got in his face and started yelling at him.
That's like where you should protect your employees.
Profit's more important than
exactly.
personnel.
And profit's
that's
more.
What's fucked up.
They can always hire someone else. They can't get that business back.
That's just like what's stupid. Like, you got to think like these people have been here for so long and they're making this work. Treat them better than you treat the customer. I understand the customer's gonna be back regardless of you piss them off or not. Jake is a prime fucking example of that. Talked so much shit about the card shop and he still came back.
It happens a lot. There's a lot of people who are just like, oh, this place is awful, I'm never coming back, to so many businesses, and you'll see them there next week.
The amount of times I've got shit orders from, like, McDonald's, and I'm just like, yeah, it's McDonald's.
Yeah.
Or Walmart, I get garbage expired product from Walmart, and I'm just like, well, that's where I go to get my things, so I'm going to go back.
It's just dumb, like, how, like, employees that work in those situations are just treated like shit.
I feel like the people that treat them like shit never work jobs like that.
A lot of them never have. A lot of these people are like, well, I have a real job. I work 9 to 5. Fun fact, every job is a real job if you're making money.
I hate people who say it isn't a real job. Like, everyone has to do it. I think a
majority of the time. I think a majority of the time you can tell the difference between a person who worked and became wealthy and a person who was given their wealth.
Yeah.
Yes. You can. The attitude is totally different.
They'll treat
Every now and then you get lucky and it's not that way.
If they treat you like a human, yeah. Some people have, obviously, they've inherited, and there's a genuine good person, and they'll treat you nice regardless because they understand what it's like.
Yeah, that's not to say that there's no exceptions to that. Yeah, because that's not a rule by any means.
But sometimes you
can definitely
you meet the asshole that's like, I'm better than you because like, you're here and I'm where I'm.
While I was working at Menards, full transparency, like there was guys that would come in. They're straight up slumlords. They half-ass redo everything.
The shittiest,
just so they can flip it or rent it out to somebody else. And then when you tell them like, well, that's not an ethical thing to do. Well, then you get in trouble because that's not your job. It's not your job to tell them whether
your job is to sell them product.
Like I had one guy that he like when you retile a shower, you're supposed to waterproof it to prevent mold from building up behind the like tile.
Yeah, you can't just put drywall.
Because fun fact, tile's not waterproof, and neither is the grout line. You can't just put something like a green board up and assume it's waterproof.
You have to seal it. You have to seal your tile.
You have to put a waterproofing on top of it. And when you put the waterproofing, which goes on before you put your tile on. Like, I was explaining that to a guy, and then he's like, well, I'm not fucking doing that. And I'm like, well, then you can't really rent it out to somebody because it's inhabitable. Because that mold can grow. And then if someone's allergic to that mold, it can kill them. But then he immediately went and told, like, whatever GM was working, I can't remember who it was. But then I got yelled at and told that was not my job to tell people what's ethical and what's not.
You're like,
and at that point, that's like one of the things was like, what the fuck am I doing here?
That's no longer like an ethics thing at that point. That's building safety standards. Codes. You have to meet safety codes. Mm-hmm. That's a code. Yeah, that's a violation.
He literally.
I mean, I had when you buy a house, you have a dude in like when you're buying it from a guy through mortgage. You have a guy come, has to inspect your house for $2,000. You get it's a choice that you can do it, or they can pay for it, or you know what I mean. And that guy came through and looked through everything, said it was okay. Then my dad came through, who has 40 plus years of construction experience, came through and said, this is wrong, this is wrong, this isn't even in code. These wires shouldn't be all in this one box. Like, he found so many things. And I was just like, this fucking dude that qualified my house to be okay literally did nothing. Like, he came through, he couldn't get under my porch, so he didn't. Like, there was a door, and he unscrewed it, but it wouldn't come off, so he was like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm sure it's okay. It's not insulated. That front part of my porch isn't insulated. And it's supposed to be insulated. Which we would have found out, and I would have been like, I need this insulated before I can do this. But I'm a first-time home buyer. I don't fucking know what I was doing. I was just like, yeah, I need a home. I'm getting a family together. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, that really fucked me. I have to do a bunch of repairs now. Yeah. And it's like, some people are just shitty people when it comes to work. I always try to.
They're just so lazy.
Yeah, when I'm working, I'm working. Like, I won't, if I was helping someone with computers at Best Buy, I know about computers, I'm not going to sell them an uncompatible product. I'm going to look. I'm not just going to be like, yeah, it'll work.
You can't just assume it's going to work, and then that's the thing. Like, some of those people, like, they'll lie about certain things to make it seem like they know what they're talking about. When it's like, don't fucking do that.
There was a person
don't
at
lie
Menards,
to somebody when you sell something.
Someone in my department at Menards in paint working that was completely bullshit. Like, they didn't know what was going on about the paint, and they were telling that I think it was eggshell, the Ultra, the eggshell. I was like, yeah, it's fine in a bathroom. It'll work in a bathroom, in a kitchen. And I was just like, I turned around like, what? I was like, no, this is not how that works. They were saying it would work, cover 400 feet, which if it's a lesser sheen, it will not cover as much. So I was like, it'll cover like maybe 200. You're going to have to go over 2 coats, maybe put primer on before. And they were just telling them like, yeah, looked at the box, 400, it's good on bathroom, kitchen, whatever you want to do.
And it's not.
Yeah, and I was like, what? And then they gave them the odor thing. They're like, this will last forever. I'm like, nope. It'll last for like maybe 2 months. Maybe.
Well, like, because this room had it for a while. Mm-hmm. When I first redid this room, and then, like, my office room, when I redid that one, I put it in there. 30 days at most.
Yeah, gone. Yeah, it's
Can't
not.
Even tell.
It's like the bug stuff, bug repellent.
Yeah, it only works for so long.
That'll last.
It only works if it's by light.
Mm-hmm. It won't work. Yeah, and heat source will activate it, and even after that, it'll do it for like 14 days, and then you're gonna get mosquitoes and stuff.
They were still good for now. It's just weird on how that stuff's set up. Like, people, like, when I first moved over to the flooring, like, he said, you can bullshit most of the stuff over here. It's pretty simple and it's easy to figure out. And then he took me to one aisle, which is like where the tile stuff is, like as far as like grout and like mortar and stuff. He's like, this aisle, if you don't know it, you come find somebody. Yeah. This will literally cost someone thousands of dollars if you fuck this up.
Put it up, and then if the tile's too heavy for the grout,
it's gonna
fall.
Yeah, if you try to tile, a lot of people now like to do tile on their like shower, like up on the top of the shower,
completely tiled shower.
If you use the wrong mortar with the wrong size of tile, those tiles can fall. Yeah, like that, it won't work.
If you don't seal it, water will seep in. Like, there's a million things.
Even when you seal the grout, like the water still goes into it, so you still have to waterproof behind it to make it work.
You have to buy the special backing.
But there's
when we did mine.
So much shit that you have to take into account when you do stuff like that. Like, that's why the guy, like, I took Keith serious when he said that, and I haven't fucked anybody's stuff up because he gave me that warning.
It's like paint. Like, most people think you just buy paint, throw it on the wall.
That's not how it works.
Nope. There's multiple factors. Fresh drywall, painted surface, what kind of paint was on there before, it's a moisture room, it's
overall,
dirty
like,
often.
The people that expect their paint to always cover in one coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, like latex or oil paints.
They're like,
very different.
They're like, can I have a light gray? And I'm like, yeah, they'll cover in one coat. I'll say, what are you painting? They're like, black. And I'm just like, no. That's not going to work, my friend. They're like, well, it's paint and primer and one. And I'm like, that doesn't matter.
It's not how that works at all.
You're going to need a lot of paint if you want to cover black.
You're going to need a lot of paint. You're going to need primer. I don't want to prime before I paint. I want one coat. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Go to Lowe's. It's not happening here. They're going to tell you the same thing.
They'll tell you the same thing, but...
Sometimes they won't because they want to make the sale, and that's
assholes.
You fall into a situation where it's shitty business.
You'll buy their Valspar, whatever the fuck, and they'll be like, "Yeah, it's perfect. You work one coat, you put your dog with it.
I match any color you want on top of any color you want."
Anyways, that's some times up stuff. And final question to everybody. I think, what is your favorite movie? I think that'd be topical.
Favorite movie?
Yeah, that's true. We were talking about the movies.
We talked about movies.
I already said mine. Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Mark?
You know, I think...
You can pick a movie series also.
Mysterious Life of Walter Mitty. I think it's a really underrated movie.
Choice.
I like that one. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
My favorite movie of all...
Gojira.
It'd have to be anything out of the Godzilla series.
Gojira.
It's just me. It's who I am. I'm a Godzilla
you're a
guy.
Godzilla boy.
Through and through. All the way to the calf.
Anybody tries to say that I'm not.
Fuck.
You don't know me.
You don't know.
Fight them right on the spot. We're encouraging violence.
He's gonna beat anybody up that says they're not into Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck all you guys.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. But as far as we have to go right now, time's up.
Time's up.
It's over.
Yeet.
What? you say yee?
I'm a yee man.
Dude, every other text I get is yee yee.
All of our Discord is yee.
But where's the haw?
I don't even say,
Like,
hey, I'm on.
Like when he gets on, he literally just sends me yee yee.
But where's the haw for the yee?
I'm not country boy.
You gotta have a little Texas in
no
there.
country boy. Texas.
I ain't got no Texas in me.
Texas is bullshit.